So, hey, today I am interviewing my friend Remy, who is the personification of community service in the pagan community here in Portland. She's an amazing kitchen witch. She has pulled off some crazy miracles. And I think I'll just let Remy speak for herself. All right, here we go. Yeah. So, hi, Remy. Oh my
Hi,
gosh.
Sienna.
How
It's
you
so
are
great to
ya?
see you.
It's been
I'm
forever.
hanging in, hanging on, doing our best I can.
Awesome. Yeah. So thanks for doing the interview. I know that you're a
Sure.
busy person and you worked today. Um, and thanks for filling in your downtime with my interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. I love the community. I love you, and however I can help.
Well, when I started doing this series, I was thinking, when I think community service, there is nobody who does it, who embodies it better than you do.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
yeah, I mean, you have been tirelessly devoted to service since I met you. What was it, 13 years, 11 years ago? Something like
I
that.
think we're going into 13.
Yeah, crazy.
I know, it's so, wow.
Yeah, so
Seems
why
like a
don't you?
lifetime ago.
No, God, it was really well,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was. It really was, especially for me.
Right? Yeah. Well, both of us have had some pets go through a couple lifetimes, so I
That's
guess
true.
yeah.
Hmm.
So hey, first I know you pretty well, but my viewership, a couple dozen of them, really haven't met you. So tell us, who is Remy? And please do pronounce your last name for me.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Remy. My Ilmatar Hayden is my married name, my name and married name. But I do use Miss Remy Pandaia as my pagan name.
Okay, that helps. And so tell us everything that you are currently doing, and then we'll get into the history of what you have done.
Okay, the stuff I'm currently doing. Um, I am currently working at the Ravens Wing in Portland, and it's a magical little boutique shop over in the Selwood neighborhood. I also am doing readings. I'm a psychic medium and intuitive oracle reader. And let's see, I'm also a Reiki master teacher. And so I've been doing there's this really great company, Thought Cloud, which does CBD products, all kinds of CBD products for people and animals. And they Reiki infuse their products. And so I have been the one doing that for the last several rounds. So that's been an exciting adventure. I'm also the current president of Other World of Wonders. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know you were president. Congratulations.
President of Oh Wow here in Portland, a pagan nonprofit here in Portland that does the Sunfest Summer Solstice Festival. Gosh, okay, those are the things I can think of right off the top of my head that I'm currently doing.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And so, what do you think that in the history of your service to the pagan community? I mean, you and I served in 9 houses of Gaia together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we crossed paths for about 5 years there. Um, and I know that you teach classes
Oh,
and
I'm teaching classes. Thank you. That's something I'm doing. I teach a psychic self-defense class, and I also teach, right now I'm currently teaching a course on the chakras, which has been
awesome.
a lot of fun. And of course, my connections to you and Tantra have played a big part in that.
Oh, I appreciate the nod there.
Yeah.
Are you doing those in person, or are you doing them online, Zoom?
There's Zoom right now. I'm doing it through Raven's Wing because the platform is set up, and and there's people that are looking for the things. So it's all through Zoom right now, just because we're still trying to be as safe and cautious as possible, keep everyone healthy. But we can't wait to be able to do things in person again. That's for sure.
Well, we're going to link to those Raven Wing classes at the end of the
Hey,
interview
wonderful.
because I think you're right. Lots of people are going to be looking for those. And I can't imagine you be like a hard person to learn from. So
So I've had this is my first course doing the chakras. I did it over 7 months, and it's one chakra a month, and we just did the sixth chakra. So there's one more left in this series, but I am going to teach it again, and I think I'm going to break it into a 7-week course and tighten the time up. I just think it'll be really great. But I've gotten some really great feedback from the people who have been going through the course with me. So yeah, I'm super excited about that.
yeah, yeah, I'm almost wanting to take it from you, even though I know that, I'll probably just hear my own words come back to me.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
excited. I say stuff, my way.
yeah, I know. This is what I love about you. Um, you know, that's the cool thing about paganism is that there is no wrong way to do it, right? Well,
Right.
there's ways that don't work, but
That's true. That's true. That's true.
so let me ask you this. Um, what aspect of paganism do you identify with the most?
You know, for me, that's a tricky one. I didn't do the Gardenarian. I didn't do Wicca specifically. I've kind of always been more of an eclectic kitchen witch. A lot of my magic is right out of the spice cupboard and the broom cupboard, and I'm a lot more of a down home root work kind of hedge witch, bruja, a little bit of everything sort of witch.
Yeah. Okay.
All the things I do. It's a little bit of all the things.
Okay. I love it.
Recently, I've been doing I got dedicated and have been doing work with the goddess Selene, the Greek Titaness personification of the moon, and have been doing a lot of work with that. So that leans into the Greek, but it's more, the more I study that, the more I realize that Greek really means Greece and ancient Turkey and Egypt and all of that Mediterranean area. So there is no there is no one way, even back then. So it's been
Right.
it's been a really fun journey, actually.
Yeah, I can believe that that's just like a mind blower to weave all that together. That's great. How long have you been a pagan?
Oh, it's funny. Someone recently asked me that question, and I've been thinking about it. And so I was baptized Catholic. I come from Roman Catholic on both sides, Puerto Rican and Portuguese, very Roman Catholic. But my parents weren't particularly religious. I mean, they were spiritual, but they weren't like religious. So they had us baptized, I think, out of a sense of obligation more than anything. But they didn't force us to do like Sunday school and confirmation and all of the other stuff that you would do in Catholic tradition. And so I happen to be a woman of the transgender experience. So I grew up being labeled a boy, and I was very soft and very feminine. I've always been me, and people liked to use the Bible as a way to hurt me or tell me that I was wrong. So even at a very young age, I didn't understand how God is love. God made me in his image, but God hates me for the way that he made me because this is just who I am. So it never really made sense. And and I was always, as many, pagans are, we are very into mythology and the concepts of the old ways. So I was always very drawn to all of that. But it was about the 7th grade when I realized that there were people in the here and the now that worshiped a goddess, a great mother. And I was like, that was the first mind blow for me. And I was like, I'm that. I'm a goddess worshiper. Yeah, that's why I am the way I am. There's the goddess, she lives inside me. I feel, and so about 7th grade is when I first started considering myself a goddess worshiper. But I didn't really get into the craft until I was probably in my 20s.
That's an interesting
40,
thing.
so it's been a long time.
It's interesting that you could call yourself a goddess worshiper even as a teenager, but yet not get into the craft, as it were.
Hmm.
Yeah. What did it take to nudge you
You
into
know,
that?
I think I considered myself a goddess worshiper because the concept of a loving mother rang true in my soul. And that didn't require the craft. And I didn't have anybody in my life that particularly was into the craft until I got into about until I got about ninth grade, got into high school. And actually, one of my teachers was a witch or a Wiccan, I think she considered herself. And so that's definitely where I started to play with the ideas more, but I never started practicing the craft at that time either. And I kind of just got, went through high school and then went off to college and had life and ups and downs and several lives actually, even in that short time frame. And there was a point when I kind of was in the need for spirituality and I needed like answers or connection. I had felt disconnected. Like I had always through that time considered myself a goddess worshiper, but the connection felt sort of lost. And I was maybe 22 at this time or something. And I was living in Southern California, had graduated college, and I kind of just proclaimed to the universe I needed some guidance. And so, like, little things, little books fell into my lap. And that definitely got me more, some things that really helped me to formulate my fundamental belief systems, I would have to say. And they weren't necessarily pagan. They were some pagan, some was Gnostic, some was, it was a very combination of things. But it wouldn't be for another maybe 5 years after that that I'm now living back. I'm originally from the Bay Area in California, Oakland, California. So I was back in the Bay Area living with my mom. As circumstances being what they were, I had to move home. Again, lives, many lives. And uh, and then it was the call for the crowd. I don't know, the witch blood started to boil inside of me. I think I might have attended a little like I found out about a public ritual that was happening at Lake Merritt by the New Reformed Order of the Golden Dawn. So I went to their little thing and I was like, okay, I like this, even though these people don't feel like the right people. I feel like this is the right idea. And then I proclaimed to the universe I was ready for that stage and was looking for teachers. And what's funny is how, all things come around. I work at the Ravens Wing here in Portland. The Ravens Wing used to be the Sacred Well, and our original store is in Oakland, California. So it was at that store that I found the people who would be my first teachers. And what's funny is two of those people are the managers of my current store. So even though life took us in different directions, we got back, circles and brought back together. But it was through that group that I first started learning the craft and practicing the craft and first started doing community or public rituals. Circumstances being what they were, I needed to move. I moved to the Northwest because I had an aunt up here, and I kind of the witches in Oakland that I was with kind of helped me to get out of a very bad situation and get here to the Northwest. So as soon as I got here, I knew that this was the place I needed to be, and I wasn't going to be going back to Oakland. But I needed community. I needed that pagan community that I had just left behind that, in my opinion, helped to save my life at that moment. So I immediately started looking for the community here. And I found a little shop in Vancouver that isn't there anymore. It was the Wishing Well. And I started doing full moon rituals there. I just was like, I would love to do rituals here. Would you let me? And she's like, sure. And people started coming. And then I was like, okay, I need to meet community. And so I went to meetup.com because I couldn't find any information on the web. Because I mean, again, this was like 13 years ago. So the web, it wasn't quite as great as it is now. I mean, great as it is now. Um, so it was difficult finding anybody, but I was able to find a witches meetup that was happening in Vancouver, Washington. And so I started attending that monthly or whatever it was. And through that, I met some people that I really jived with at that moment. And they sort of they took me to my first Beltane, and it's kind of the rest is history for me in the community here in the Northwest anyway. Because I very quickly went into 9 houses and started doing that, and then running kitchen at Folly Q and getting into lots and lots of rituals, community rituals, playing lots of different parts. I just kind of dove right in. And I'm still there.
You haven't left.
Love it.
I have to mention one of the miracles that I personally observed you pull off, and I swear there were 200 people who saw this come down, was the turkeys in the fire pit when the power went out in the kitchen in the middle of the festival.
Yes.
And you had to, what, 300 people to feed, 250 people to feed?
It was 150 to 200 people. We were at the Fall Equinox Festival out in the woods, and luckily we had like these really great cabins and stuff. So and we had a dining hall and an industrial kitchen, but the power went out. There was some huge 3-county power outage, and it was pouring rain.
Oh, the storm was bad.
It was so bad. And I was freaking out because I had already started cooking the turkeys in the oven. And you know that once you start cooking, you can't stop and then start again. Like it has to do its thing or it's ruined. And I was, of course, panicking for about 30 minutes. And then I was standing in the dining hall, I just kind of finally threw my hands up, and I heard my cat is knocking the computer around. Laughing down at the end of the dining hall. And I looked down there and they're all sitting by this huge hearth. And I was like, well, bitch, that's a fire. We can cook in fire. So I got on my little walkie-talkie to the site coordinator, and I was like, do you think I can cook in the fireplace? And they were like, under the circumstances, I don't see why not. And I was like, oh, right. And I went straight over to a couple of our guys. I was like, I need you to build me a huge fire with a lot of coals. And they're like, what? I said, just do it. I got to cook some food, do the things. Needless to say, I cooked a Thanksgiving dinner in a fireplace, and it was amazing, if I say so myself.
I was there. It was amazing. You had turkey on either end of the room going. You had these big buff dudes that are in there throwing wood around, rotating your turkey for you. It was a miracle.
Thank you. You know, you might also remember that at the end of that festival, Mama Kate pulled me to the middle of the room and I say called me out, but she just acknowledged me for what I'd done and how I was carrying a lot of energy for a lot of people and felt a huge responsibility to feed these people, because the Fall Equinox Festival was very much about the kitchen as much as the magic. It was all part of the harvest, right? So I had carried it, and I didn't realize how much I was carrying until that moment when she called me out, and it just fell out of me in sobs. And the next thing I know, the entire community is standing around me in this giant community hug that was, to this day, one of the most moving things I've ever experienced. It was beautiful. The magic was so healing in that moment. And I didn't carry it home. I left it all there. Blah.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah. And then I did it the next year on purpose because it turned out so well. It felt like it needed to be tradition.
Yeah, well, that entire episode needed to be archived for history. Um,
Thank you. I'm glad we did.
yes.
It was an event. It was beautiful though. That whole experience was a very beautiful experience because just from where I was standing in the kitchen in the pitch black, and we couldn't have candles or lantern like fire except for in the fireplaces, but everybody came up with like lanterns and someone gave me lent me their headlamp and they were just everyone and because it was pouring rain, everyone just came to the dining hall and hung out and was community in this twilight, like it wasn't candlelight, it was like camping lantern, electric camping lantern light, but it was magical and it was beautiful and it was storming and there was food in the fire. And I never felt more witchy than at that moment. It was a beautiful, just the whole thing was very magical and beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think that I have ever been in a more amazing miracle bubble,
Yeah,
you
it
know?
was. It turned into a miracle bubble.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
So, besides that little anecdote, what else comes to mind about your participation in the community uh, when you think about the greater community?
You know, I mean, so I was on the Nine Houses of Gaia. I ran the kitchen. I was president the last 5 year or 4 or 5 years, something like that, the last 4 years of the board. And I've been in a lot of rituals, and for me it's always been about community and connection. And we like to talk about like the old ways and the old, and really that's what the old ways are, was community coming together in worship or feast or both. And there's nothing more sacred to this kitchen witch's heart than breaking bread with the people next to you. And that can even be your enemy. Like, that's magic if you can break bread with an enemy or something. So for me, it's always been about serving my spiritual community. I get a spiritual feed from helping to feed others, helping others find their own path, providing the guidance. I mean, I don't know, I think I've just been called to this my whole life. And side tangents, side notes. Something I just had a realization for. It was a memory of my childhood. And I just realized that I am living my childhood dream. I used to pray to God when I was a little Catholic, little kid, to make me psychic. I wanted to be a psychic so bad. And here I am, a professional psychic. Like, I don't know. And so that fulfills my like childhood dream and all that and everything. But I feel that is more a call from spirit to service. Like, when I do a reading for somebody, I don't remember what I said to you. People go, do you remember what you told? No, I don't.
Nope.
I am merely a channel of spirit. And that message was for you. And as long as it meant something to you, then I was a clear channel. And that's what it's about. Like, it's all of that. None of that is me. Yeah, I have my own magic and there are other things, but there are a lot of what I do that is a vessel or purely conduit. Reiki is the same thing. Like, I'm a Reiki master teacher, but I'm still, all we are conduits of the Reiki energy. Like, we just have been attuned to be a conduit. That's all we are. We're a channel, and at Sunfest 2 years ago now, at the last Sunfest we had, I had the experience of finally doing a trance possession oracular thing and that's when Selene came into my life. And I've done it a few times since. It's a very interesting sort of thing. But again, that's all that call to service and being a channel for spirit, helping others find their path.
Can you describe for those who don't understand what you just said about Selene and you're being a channel for that? What does that look like on the ground running?
So I've always been sort of afraid of being, so some people might consider it possessed or being ridden. It is when your consciousness slips backwards and the consciousness of a spirit or deity comes forward and speaks through you. In my experience, it is like kind of having a dream. I can kind of hear what's happening, um, but I don't have any say in it. And the moment I'm back in control, it starts to fade away like a dream does. So those moments aren't for me. But um, you sort of, so I hadn't had this experience before. I was at the festival, and that's what the whole thing was about. It was Janet Farrar and Gavin Bone, like the Miss Janet Farrar, who wrote the Witch's Bible.
Right.
Was she and Gavin Bone were there as ritual lead high priest and priestess or whatever. And so they led us through this sort of meditation in the morning. And in that meditation, we went sort of into the underworld and met somebody at a gate. And it was Selene who presented herself to me at the gate. And I hadn't really heard much about her, and I'd never worked with her because I'd never really heard much about her. And came back, and she told me, if you dedicate to me, I will show you wonders, is what she told me. And so the rest of that day, I was kind of like a little shaken, but like really intrigued. I've worked with a lot of deities and never had one be like, bitch, you're mine, right?
It's not interesting. It's a funny, yeah, it's a funny.
So that was that moment for me. Even after all these years I've been practicing and in the craft and channeling different deities, or worked with or embodied deities and rituals, it still isn't quite the same as this sort of moment when you're allowing them to fully take over. It's usually more of we're working together and they're feeding me the lines kind of thing, as opposed to they're just using me as a tool sort of thing. So later that day, the ritual is happening, and the three people who had been chosen do the thing. And then there's like, does anybody else have a deity that needs to speak? And my hand shot up. And I was like, I guess it's me. And he's like, all right, come on. Gavin goes, come on up. And he's like, who is it? And I said, Selene. And he goes, okay, Selene. And I was like, okay. She said Selene to me because I think that's what I needed to hear in the moment. And so like this veil went over my head, and he walked me back through that trance, which took me down into the underworld. And then we did the thing, and I literally allowed her to enter my body. And she then prophesied to the community, and then took personal questions from people to give private messages to a few people. And then the vessel, then I guess I was told that she said that the vessel is getting tired. So it was time for her to leave and for me to come back. And so it's going into a trance, allowing your body to be used by deity, by spirit. And for me, it is Selene.
Yeah, I've had that happen a couple of times myself. I won't get into that because this is not the point for it, but it does happen. And you described it very well for people who have never had that experience. Yeah. So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think your ritual magic, your kitchen witchery has affected your mental health? Good or bad? Either way.
That's interesting. For me, I would have to say it's good. I call it faith. My beliefs have gotten me through some really rough times. I've had some very rough times in my life, and it is through my connections to the goddess and to spirit and to community and to magic that have helped me process a lot of things, come to terms with a lot of things, have deeper understandings or new perspectives or different perspectives than maybe are conventional or are mainstream. And and just my personal belief system that has accumulated over the years, because it's never ending process, right? We're forever students there. Even when you get to master, you're still learning, so whatever.
Right.
So for me, my faith, my beliefs have helped me come through serious depression. They help me in moments of anxiety and heightened stress, learning to process and deal with and use my empathic gift as a gift and not a curse, and how to protect myself. So all of these different things are, into my mind, part of my spiritual path. My spiritual path is my life. My life is my spiritual path. It's all connected. It's not disassociated. My husband sometimes goes, "You're always talking about spirit." I'm like, I am, because it is all energy. It is all spirit. Like, right? Let's talk physics for a minute. It's light and vibration. It's energy, everything. So yeah, I talk about it a lot. He's great though. He's great.
Yeah, he's super supportive. He's awesome.
Yes, he is. He actually is very proud of his witchy wife.
Yes.
I've heard him boast to his friends. It's cute.
So, okay, we are wrapping this up now.
Sure.
Any advice to young seekers on the path?
Gosh, like I just said, it's a never-ending journey of growth. You're never too old to change. You're never too old to learn something new. There is no 100% right way. There are no hard and fast rules when it comes to the craft, okay? Because each school of magic has its own beliefs, and often they are contradictory. So it's all about reading as much as you can. And I mean the Bible, I mean the Nag Hammadi, I mean the Vedic scriptures. Study everything. Take the pieces that work well and feel right to your soul, incorporate them into who you are and what you believe. And just try to be a good person. Magic is neither white nor black. It's lots of gray, and you can choose where you fall on that scale. I choose to live in a life of doing the best that I can and to help people. But that's not to say that I haven't gone pretty dark gray before and won't go again, because I'm just saying. But just be open to new things, and don't let TikTok be the only place you learn magic.
Thank you for that. That was a really important thing to say.
I'm just saying. It's great that there's a lot of new baby witches coming into the world, and I'm happy for it. I deal with y'all every day at the store, and it's great. I love you. I do. But TikTok is not the only place to learn magic. That's all I'm going to say.
For real. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, let's not get off on that one. I do appreciate the wrap. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. I do appreciate the interview. It's been so long since we've hung out. We really do need to hang.
Yes, I would love that.
Yes, this vaccination thing will be over, and then everybody will be hugging again.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm a hugger. You know that.
Yeah. So we're gonna link to the Raven Wings classes at the end here. We'll link back to probably wow if y'all have a website still, and
yeah. I mean, we're right? Because of COVID, we won't be able to do festival again this year. There's going to be something coming out very soon, a statement from the board about that. But we are looking at 2022 full steam ahead. That's the goal. So we are all about serving community and meeting for magic. So
yeah. And speaking of which, there was one thing we did not mention at the very beginning is that you have been recently ordained,
That's right.
legally ordained by the Temple of Mystic Arts Gathering and Information Circle. So I wanted to congratulate you about that too.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor. I'm so excited.
So cool. And thank you for this amazing interview. I hope that you get to share it with all of your friends who don't know these cool things about you either.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Big hug, sweetie, and we'll talk soon.
All right, love. Big
Okay.
hug.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
So that was Remy. I hope you all enjoyed getting to know her a little bit. I have put some links to the things she was talking about at the end of this video. So check those out. And again, share this video, subscribe to my channel, do as you will, and take care of yourself. Bye-bye.